Now, I'm going to talk to Redneck, Vic, JG, Angie, and David. But then when those calls are gone, because we got Peter Schiff coming up, we're almost out of time. As soon as these callers are gone, or as soon as I hang up on each caller, it's your chance, if you're in the military, but you do need to call from a payphone, or you need to call, or if you're out of the military and just got out, you can do it. Or you can call from Skype. I guess we should just get past the fear. I'm just saying that they are listening to everything that's admitted, and a lot of people are scared to call. I've been told that on the street by military. But are you being told you're preparing for martial law? We've gotten so much intel with the people's names and the rest of it, but they say we can't use their names. But I would specifically like to hear from you about if you're being trained for martial law in the Gulf. We know snipers. We know civil unrest. MPs are being sent to the Gulf. That's confirmed, but I'd like to get your calls on that. 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. So when I finish up with these 5 callers, we're going to leave the phones open for military only, or police who've got any intel on this. They're keeping it highly compartmentalized, but this is important. And this may be the crisis that the Obama handlers are going to use, because their entire agenda is collapsing. And so they may use a new war, martial law, you name it, stage terror attacks as a pretext to keep their agenda going. Let's talk to Redneck in Mississippi. Go ahead, Redneck.
Hey, what's going on, Mr. Jones? How you doing this afternoon?
Good. Worldwide broadcast. What's on your mind?
Well, I tell you, I got a little solution that people can think into as far as how this economy is going in a down spiral here. Old technology called gasification. Have you ever heard about it or familiar with it?
Yes, but why don't you fill us in?
All right. Well, I know back in World War II, Europe was basically a wood gas-fired area of the world, you know, because of the oil shortages and whatnot. And basically, it's very simple. Is through pyrolysis, without actually burning the wood, you actually heat it up and draw off carbon monoxide, methane, hydrogens, stuff like that, and you can use that gas on internal combustion engines, heating boilers.
Well, sir, I mean, they could make fuel for cars out of coal. There's so many resources, it's ridiculous. But the Washington Post is talking about banning air conditioners. Here's the headline: in the heat wave, the case against air conditioning. This is the globalists seizing all forms of energy and making it illegal for you to be self-sufficient. This is siege. But I appreciate your call, Redneck. Yes, there are many ways for us to power our society, and all of it is being blocked right now by the globalists. This is a takeover. They are seizing the energy supplies, and they're going to use this oil spill to try to nationalize the oil companies. Okay, I'm opening the phones up specifically for military people, and we'll do this throughout the next few days. Are you being trained and prepared for forced evacuations? They're not going to call it martial law. But anybody who's carried it out in Iraq or other areas knows what it is. It's just you have no rights. You're in a total police state. That's what martial law is. And the greatest extension of that is don't come outside your doors, and the secret police going around and arresting people and putting bags over their heads. And whether it's England, Canada, or the United States, every time they have an urban warfare drill or a special event like G20, they actually have private security people in plain clothes in front of news cameras grabbing people, putting bags over their heads, and putting them in vehicles. And they're doing that just to acclimate you. Yeah, I've seen that on the news. What's the big deal? Private people putting bags over your heads. It's a psyop being done to condition you. All of this is acclimation. Let's move quickly through your calls, because as soon as I've gone through J, G, Angie, and David, in fact, we've got some lines open right now specifically for military or police that are being trained for forced evacuation. And again, that's starting to come out in the news. They may do this when the oil comes ashore. But the oil is going to come in waves, not all at once. It can be cleaned up if they let them clean it up. I don't think an evacuation is needed. Maybe a few miles inland. But you know they're going to use this crisis to the maximum effect. Let's go ahead and go to JG in California. You're on the air.
Good morning, Alex. Some of my background has been in federal law enforcement. You know, Alex, and in years past, we never had heard any idea of this kind of treason, you know, being peddled amongst federal or military. And some of my colleagues years ago, you know, down on the border had gotten bits and pieces of sightings, you know, of foreign personnel down there, Cubans and Chinese looking like military troops, but I just can't believe that you're saying already that the Marines, Alex, are the Marines in California arresting gun owners carrying it unloaded safely, which is legal in California, carrying in their trunks?
Yes, sir. We have confirmed nationwide that police, military, National Guard. I mean, I've got newscasts from Fox in New York State where they are running cars through a X-ray machine and going, oh, look, we got a rifle. We're going to make arrest. Absolutely. They are. I mean, you see it in the news all the time where somebody carries a deer rifle out of their car. The police get called, and the police arrest them because they find 10 guns in their garage that are legal. I mean, this is going on constantly. I've got video of them arresting people for a pocket constitution.
I've heard you talk about these things, but, the fact that, like I, myself, Alex, I call ahead, to the state that I may travel through that I don't have a CCW and call ahead how to carry the weapon legally. And for the last 10 years, I've had no problem. But this lately, like I'm near Vegas now, okay? Have you heard any problems in Nevada and Eastern California where citizens are carrying weapons? Are the Marines near Fort Irwin and 29 Palms doing this?
Yes.
They're arresting citizens.
Yeah, let me show you. In fact, guys, can I have a document cam shot, please? Yeah, let me just show you a State Highway Patrol press release. Even if you're listening on the radio, you can watch this at prisonplanet.tv. Chip News. And then when you read the Chip News, it says they're running DWI checkpoints, and they're armed, and they search the vehicles. And, yes, they are, in these reports, harassing gun owners. And if they decide that you've got a gun that they think might be illegal, they go ahead and just take you on into jail. So, yes, they are training also for gun confiscation. I mean, I had a colonel on last year in Arcadia, Iowa, where they were doing gun confiscation drills in the town. But the point is, just having Marines at checkpoints for DWIs against citizens, that is illegal. And then here is the news articles from Fox News and out of NBC LA. Cops show Marines how to take on Taliban. But then when you read deeper into this, and we had reports of this confirmed 2 years ago, they're engaged in law enforcement action with the police. So they're openly merging them now, sir.
Yeah, well, those citizens that are carrying them legally, Alex, I don't see how they can take it upon themselves. I mean, I hear you talk about the cops in southern Texas, and, I can understand that down there with those kind of cops. But the Northeast and in the West Coast, I haven't ever heard of such tyranny and parasitic, trampling on our rights.
Sir, did you hear about the woman, the housewife, no criminal record? They reported she was a Glenn Beck and Alex Jones listener. She got pulled over with a rifle in her trunk, and they went ahead and arrested her and are investigating her for terrorism.
I wasn't loaded?
No.
Yeah, I'm believing all this, Alex, coming out of you and a couple other of my colleagues.
No. Look, sir. I remember Law Enforcement Technology magazine 5 or 6 years ago said, officer, if you see someone with a get us out of the UN sticker on their car, and you can go pull this up, I'm paraphrasing, but it said, go ahead and arrest them, and police chiefs, don't get mad at your officers. You need to go ahead and bring these people in and interrogate them because they might be terrorists. I mean, have you seen the MIAC and Homeland Security report where they tell the police the #1 threat is returning veterans with guns?
I'm a veteran, Alex.
But what I'm saying is, I mean, this is what they're being trained. Yes, it's illegal. Yes, it's unlawful. It's illegal to have troops at the Kentucky Derby arresting people. They're just acclimating everyone. I appreciate your call. I mean, it's illegal that they blocked food and water for 5 days, wouldn't let the National Guard bring the food into the Superdome. People sat there for 5 days begging for it through the barbed wire, but then they sent them into the dry areas, into wealthy homes, and took their guns. I mean, that really happened. This is what the military is training to do. This is what's happening. Let's go ahead and take another call. I appreciate your call. Angie in Texas, you're on the air.
Hi, I live here in Brownsville.
Yes.
And I wanted to let you know a couple of things that went on during Hurricane Alex.
Yep.
The first thing was that there was a newscast report saying how they're going to process people into the shelters. And I said, oh, my gosh, because I thought back to your commercial about the bracelets, and it popped up again right now. They were showing how They process people, how they give them the bracelets and how they have to give them certain information. Then they give them these yellow bracelets that they can scan.
Yes, ma'am. And again, each time it gets more extreme. It's because they know it's hard to beat incrementalism. And they then put people in these camps, and you're not allowed to go out at night. And sometimes they'll break up families and bus different people to different areas. The CPS is there, looking for bruises on your children to try to take them. This is what goes on. And it's just incrementally they're ratcheting it up. Take the public schools. Warrantless checkpoints, ID cards, thumbprinting to get school lunches, to get library books, being trained to tattle on their parents. We're all being immersed in classical authoritarianism.